Welcome to Pull Up, Get Up, and Move On with Jenjii. I'm Jenjii. I'm so glad you're here with me for the first time or again. Go ahead, get your coffee, your tea, your ice cream, your lunch, whatever you need, your little wine. Govern yourself accordingly, and let's hang out for a minute. Come on in.
You know how to do it. She didn't even move. She's in her bag now.
Have you ever just stopped believing? Believing in the possibility of goodness, of love. Maybe you tried love and it didn't work. Have you ever just lost faith of the possibility that your dreams could come true? Have you ever lost faith? You just stop believing. You stop believing in yourself. You stop believing in your dreams. Maybe you thought your parents were everything and then you realized they were human and you lost faith in them. In love, some of us lose faith that love is possible, right? Because of experiences. Have you just given up on yourself? Have you ever lost faith in God? Let's go on and get in there right now. There's a poem, and I don't know the poet's name, but this poem I read in my early 20s in a very hard time in life. And so I want to share this poem with you, and then let's jump in. Here it goes. When you come to the end of all the light that you know, and you are about to step off into darkness, faith is knowing that one of two things will happen. Either there will be something solid in the darkness for you to stand on, or you will be taught how to fly. Have faith. I remember reading this poem at a very young age, and I could feel that there was a message there for me, but I didn't understand the cliff. I didn't understand why I had to even step into darkness. Why can't this journey in life just be easy? Why can't we just arrive one day and everything is taken care of? Or I find the love of my life without going through an abusive relationship. Or I find the career path without failing and getting fired all the time. Or I realize that my intelligence isn't dependent upon the college I went to. It actually is the depth of what I store and how I use and interpret that. But there are moments in our life where we don't realize that we're actually at a cliff moment. And that is what I want to talk about faith. You know, there are many interpretations of what faith is based on your religion, based on your culture. But the gist of it is faith is something bigger than human being. It is bigger than what a human can give to you, what money can give to you, what education can give to you. Faith is that thing that makes the impossible feel like you can touch it. You can feel it. You can smell it. Faith is that ability to dream and know that you can get to that dream. It's like children just have faith. They just believe that if I jump off this couch, I'm a fly. Now, we all know that they gonna fly that way. But in their mind, they just believe, they just react, they just go, right? When you see kids at a playground, they see all these other little kids. They don't speak the same language. They're not the same color, and they all sound like they're talking gibberish. But faith for them is, if I go up here, we just gonna play. And before you know it, they got a little gang, a little parking lot, little gang in a little park, and they rolling deep. It's 5 of them. They don't even know how to talk any language, but they speak the language of faith. There was a moment in my life where I realized that faith without works is dead. Now, based on your belief and in the Bible, it talks about faith without works is dead. And I was raised knowing you just got to have faith, but that never settled with me because I was like, well, what happens after you have faith, right? If you're a little critical thinker, you're like, okay, and then what? Until faith became a verb, an action. And what I realized is a lot of us have faith or dreams or visions or ideas or great concepts. And sometimes we think that is enough to get to the manifested beauty of what you want in your life. But the truth is, that's actually only the first step. And faith is accompanied with action. Faith is the first moment you believe that you even think it's possible. It's knowing that maybe no one has done this before, but if God called me to this, I can do it. Like, faith is that thing that gets you up in the morning when you don't think there's a possibility, but you can feel something that can't be articulated. You can hear something that has no sound. You can touch something that has no feeling. And the hard part is, what do you do when fear overcomes faith? A lot of what we're dealing right now is people's response to fear and not their response to faith. I want to share a second of a story where I had faith and fear living in the same place. And I'm going to get a little personal. I'm going to talk about love. Okay. Some of y'all want to talk about love. Okay. So there was this season in my life where I dated, I dated some really good men. They just weren't the right one for me. But there was this one moment in my life where this one person who was of wealth and status wanted, to marry me. And there was this other young man who was the most beautiful human I had ever seen. Yet he did not have the status or all the things the world said he should have. But what he had in him was something that was untainted. It was pure love. It was honesty. It was protection. It was grace. It wasn't ego. And in that moment, fear and people I knew were like, that's not the one. He ain't got no car. He ain't got this. He ain't got that. And I knew by faith that what he had was not evident here in the physical, but you couldn't teach what he had in the spiritual and in his heart. And so fear in that moment, because faith and fear occupied that room, right? I wanted love. I wanted stability. Even more, I wanted someone who would raise my children the way I would raise them. I wanted to be safe, like coming out of an abusive relationship, coming out of a dysfunctional, young adulthood. We'll talk about that on another podcast. But the truth is, faith and fear were in the room. And the blessing in the room did not show up the way the world said it should have. And fear was trying to set in because it told me that you all are never you're going to ride a bus with him forever. You're going to be broke forever. He's not going to be this and that, or all these words. And let me tell you, watch out for people who feed into your fear and not your faith. Because the people at that moment that I listened to that I thought had a lot of faith were also still very, very caught up in what they thought the world wanted them to have, and also what they thought a man should be. That's a whole nother conversation about toxic masculinity and those of us as women who perpetuate that. And what I realized is that fear in that moment, if it overcame me, would have probably been the biggest regret. And so let's talk about faith. So I decided to give this brother a chance. You'll see him if you follow me on other platforms. And I decided that I wanted to live in faith. And the amazing thing is, it was so liberating. Like, I had never felt such freedom because I was not doing what the world said I should do, what status quo said I should do, but I was doing what my heart said. I was doing what my soul said. I was doing what I felt like when I chased it. I felt like nothing was impossible. And even though the evidence of that was not tangible right there, you could not tell me what I was feeling by faith wasn't real. And so fear and faith, in that moment, there was the cliff. Remember in the poem, there's the cliff. And what I knew is that when I stepped out, there would be something tangible in that darkness for me to stand on, or I'd be taught how to fly. Now, some of us, I prefer to fly, y'all, than to just stand. And so I jumped. 22 years later, we've been together. We've been married 18 years. We have the most extraordinary children. And I'm not saying that because they mine, but I like them. I like my kids. You know, liking teenagers is a big deal this day, right? What we've built together, the community we've built together, it was all by faith. Sometimes faith is nothing. It's not even a mustard seed. It's nothing. But it's believing that this nothing with a whole lot of faith behind it and action can become something greater than you ever imagined. And so today I'm sitting in the greater than I could ever imagine. The greater you can ever imagine is calling for you. Faith is not a hard concept to understand. We don't have to intellectualize it. Y'all know some people, they be over intellectualizing stuff, but they don't even know what that means. But faith is that thing that does not sit in the intellect. It sits in the spirit. It sits in nature. It sits in things that have no words to articulate it. So I want you to pause for a minute. I want you to think about in your life, where have you surrendered to fear? Where have you allowed fear to be greater than faith? And for some of us, we don't even understand the concept of faith because it's new to us. And if it's new to you, come on in, because this is one of the most beautiful things to unravel. Faith is calling you to action. Take that risk. Be courageous. You're on a cliff. Can I keep it real? Okay, good, I will. We all on the cliff right now. It does not matter your religion, your ethnicity, your identity, your place of origin, where you call home, your bank account. We are living in a season where we all are on a cliff and trying to understand, what does this mean? Here's the truth, y'all. You got to go somewhere. You can't stay on that cliff. It is going to crumble. And what I mean by that is we are created as humans to evolve, to move forward, to step into our better selves. And part of what's happening in this world right now is so many of us have gotten comfortable with believing in other people's faith that we actually now have anchored our buggy to their buggy, and you were never called into that. Some of us have internalized fear as truth. Fear is not truth. Fear is an emotional reaction to something that is presenting in the physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, but it is not necessarily truth. We have bought into that, the most intellectual, well, I can't even say that now, I'm gonna take that back. But we have bought into that who is the loudest, that who is the most aggressive, that who speaks with more bass in their voice, actually is the leader of our future. Faith comes in a whisper. It is not loud. It is not arrogant. It is not self-consuming. Faith does not come to do harm. It is a vessel to bring love and hope and truth and change and healing. And people who call themselves people of faith, if you are not rooted in those things and the evidence are not those things, I then challenge you to take what you call faith back to something greater than human being and see if that's actually true faith or if that's fear disguised as faith. So here's a couple things. One, answer, what does faith mean to you? I don't know your beliefs, and some of us have no beliefs. But what I do know is that faith is real. It is present. And it is the key to opening a door in our lives that lead us to the beautiful things that are so unimaginable. And right now, y'all, right now, we need the faith that will paint a blank canvas that brings hope. The second is when you sit with that faith and you wrestle with what that means for you, the second thing is, what is it calling you to do? That's simple. What is it saying? So on Sunday, I'll keep it all the way real. I had a moment in life dealing with grief and some other stuff where I didn't stop believing in God, but my faith was severely compromised. And for someone like me, that is like death. And I remember getting into a place where I felt so far away from being able to even hear that this too shall pass, to even hear that like things would get better. And I remember waking up one day and being like, what do you do when you ain't got no more faith? When you can't even find it. For me, I also interpret that as God. When you can't even find God. When, I don't have the words to articulate that feeling, but maybe some of you right now know what that feels like. And all I have to say is jump off that cliff, even if you can't feel it, because let me tell you, as you continue to move forward, even in that moment of feeling like you're in an abyss of depression, of lawlessness, move forward. And so that's what I did. And on Sunday, my son came in the room and I was crying. He said, "Mama, you okay?" I said, "I am great." Because at that moment, I realized that cliff that I jumped off of, that as I went straight down, because come on now, get real, as I went straight down for about 2 years of my life, eventually the wind took me back up. And the tears that I wept was the fact that I have found it. And what it was the evidence of a life lived in faith. That even in the times where I thought God was gone, when I didn't even believe, or when the world was too much to process, what I didn't realize is I was still flying. And so today I really sit here before y'all as someone who has believed and lost faith, who has believed in people and lost faith in people, who has believed in themselves and lost faith in themselves, who has believed in their parents and lost faith in their parents, who has believed in their family and friends and lost faith in them, and who has believed in God and lost faith in God, to one day again have faith, to feel it. But not only that, the evidence of my life shows that even when I didn't believe faith, faith believed me, kept following me. It's following you. And the third thing I want to offer to you, in this season of your life, wherever you are, however you're hearing this, I want to offer to you self-love. And with self-love, we allow ourselves to not be perfect. Some of us are raised that if we don't get it all right the first time, then we ain't never gonna be right. That's a lie. Lie, lie, lie. You got to mess up some stuff. We're not perfect. We weren't made to be perfect. You got to mess up some stuff. You got to try some stuff and get it wrong and get it wrong and get it wrong, and then it gets right. The hope is as we learn more, we then have more faith where we don't get it wrong as much. But stop being mad at yourself for getting it wrong. That's fear talking to you. Because if we can be mad at ourselves enough, then fear will come in. You won't even try again. But loving yourself is saying, yep, I got it wrong. Boy, if y'all can hear the way I talk to myself, I'd be roasting myself. I got it wrong. You know you shouldn't have. But love is like, okay, baby, you got it wrong. Now get back up and get it right. Talk to yourself by faith, knowing that if you are listening to this, there is still something way out over there yonder. That's what they say in the old Negro spirituals. Over yonder, there's something there calling you. And the beauty of you right now, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, is your faith. Your faith is exactly what we need to win. And your faith on the other side of that cliff, it's got something for you you ain't ready for. And I say that good because let me tell you, I did not know I could be loved like this. Yes, I could say not all men cheat. 18 years, not all men cuss their women out. Not all men are bad. There are good men, there are good women out there ready to love you. And part of the reason they can't is because you don't have faith enough to love yourself. But I'm sitting here today telling you, go for it. And one day you'll look up. You will have been through some shit. Yes, I said it. But one day you'll look up and you'll say, wow, look what faith birthed. My friend, don't look up and say, look what fear birthed. Look up and say, look what faith birthed. Try it. Just try it today. When you come to the end of all the light that you know, and you are about to step off into darkness, faith is knowing one of two things will happen. There will either be something solid in the darkness for you to stand on, or you will be taught how to fly. Have faith. Fly. This is your pull up, get up and move on moment. Faith is calling you. You gonna answer? All right. Be well.